Folks, welcome back for another episode of Our Journeys, and we are starting off with a brand new person that I'm spectating for the very first time. Play Games Friends. Play Games is a founder, actually, of the Friends clan. And Brave Schwaaard, once again, working her networking magic, was able to connect us, and happy to be observing him for the first time and seeing what he's got. He is running a, I want to say prototypical, but kind of typical Telvanni. I am happy to see a Journey to Sovngarde there. Kind of a big deal with AL Guardians as well. And you see that he's got two Necro Amulets.
You must be cleansed.
And even though it is pretty close, right now Play Games definitely has the advantage. And does play Journey. Is he going to hit still? I think he... No, he is not. Okay. He has not taken any chances. He does not have the one turn. He can't do a one turn kill right at the moment.
I know you're out there. You won't.
Oh, new era. Oh, you gotta what? That's always the danger when you're up against Empire. Doesn't look like he has it. Nope. But you know, you build a board at your own peril when it comes to Empire. All they got to do is top deck that new era, and you've got nothing. So, obviously, conventionally, it's a great idea to not attack your opponent, especially when it's a control matchup like that, because you don't want to give them a chance to draw something like New Era or their own Guardians or what have you. Especially when you don't really have... Well, granted, he's got Mummify. Okay, he does hit there. Still can't finish it right off the jump, but he has Shadowfen. Excuse me, Shadowfen and Mummify to get around something like a Guardian. He is in a bit of a pickle. If Crickle, hey, I didn't mean to do that. Jers Crickle the Prophet sounds like. I mean, no offense. I'm sure that Junior Shrickle maybe is who it is. I don't know, but Jers Shrickle, the way it's pronounced or the way it's spelled, looks like somebody put in the name when they were a bit inebriated. What should my username be? I'm the great Jers Shrickle. The Jers Crickle Take the wrath of Jers Crickle. I don't know what the actual name would have been, but it comes across with all the consonants like that.
A clash for the ages.
And a GG from Play Games. So we will spectate again to get a full game from Play Games. Already hoping to be able to observe Play Games Friends again in this session, but right now we are jumping in with Eye of the Restless Storm. Who is running a... I mean, this is definitely not a typical Telvanni list. I mean, we see Pure Blood Elder. Rarely seen... not Telvanni. Did I say Telvanni? I meant Tribunal. You know what I meant. Frost Giant. We got a premium Frost Giant in hand. We've got the Salami, the Arcane Salami. We've got Pure Blood Elder. Yeah, this is a great... I'm excited about this list. And Eye of the Restless Storm is exactly in the top 50. Up against Hempstead, who is looking to make his press on into Legendary. The rarely seen Shadowmare, 4-cost, 4/4 Shadowmare. Oh my gosh, we got two Frost Giants. Heck yeah. Hempstead is definitely in some trouble because we are just now getting to the late game, and right on curve, Eye of the Restless Storm is going to have some great cards to play. And Kitty is not going to do well against a Frost Giant with a freaking club. Oh, look at you. You're so cute, you little opportunist. Great card for the Shred for the Bread competition, but not so hot against a very, very amazingly aggressive Tribunal. I definitely want to see another one of these games. Eye of the Restless Storm, thank you. Because Tribunal, has a bad name. Now, you can run cards like Sorcerer's Negation. You can run your some of that removal, but obviously really leaning more heavily into aggression and attack. As soon as you see the Monastic Champion, you know that's what they're going for, because you don't play cards with Breakthrough unless you're prepared to be aggressive and be aggressive often. IO, a pleasure watching this deck go. I would not want to be against it, that's sure. Now Hempstead is going to make a pretty strong case for himself here. I mean, it is essentially over. He has no way to especially now that we know. Okay, ultimate heist. I mean, he's throwing it out there.
Warning. Taste commit a claw.
And he's gonna push it close to the brink. He's got 3 magicka to work with. With strike. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the final, when you look at the final score, it was close. But Eye of the Restless just put on too much pressure too fast. Oh boy, have we got a big match coming up right here. I am quivering with anticipation right now. Eye of the Restless Storm against Aini. Aini is somebody who has been in the game since the olden days. We need to have like a term. You know how you had like DC and AD, like these definitive terms for like, you know, a certain point in history where things, you know, at a particular moment. I think we need to have like a, what would you call it? Like a B. What do you call it when a game essentially goes into development? I don't know. I don't know what to call it, but so Eye of the Restless did go up 4 ranks with that last victory. He was right at the cusp of, he was right on top 50. Now he is top 46, but his opponent Aini, before, I don't know, the legacy. I don't know. There's got to be a cool name for folks who played this game before the crash. Which I think Io actually is one of them as well. But anyway, Aini one of the top players from back in those days. And of course we see he's running a version. I've only seen Mud Crab or Salty's Assault in Battle Mage, so it's a bit interesting to see it here. But Io, I mean, goodness, oh, he got that from the crab. So I was like, I can't believe he would run that natively. But he is definitely up against it. Aini has already, with that ring charge, was able to kind of put himself in a really good position aggro-wise. The good thing that Io has going for him is that I don't know that Aini really knows that he is able to pivot into aggression very quickly. But that doesn't, I mean, that's still, he is still, you know, on the back foot, as it were. Looks like Aini does not have a... I was afraid that he was going to have a lane change for what's her name. Ooh, and a prophecy. That could really be the game changer. It's going to allow him to trade with the Cougar. Yeah, so he can trade the Mountain Lion. He can trade with the Mountain Lion, Lightning Bolt, trade with the Mountain Lion, Sorcerer's Negation, Astrid. Okay. Goes a different route. Let's see, is he gonna, because he does everything, except for take out Astrid. But it was able to drain thanks to the Oreo Cookie Girl. And just very lucky right now that Aini does not have another Crab Assault. Alright, we're seeing some of Io's more aggressive cards. He needs a guard, needs something to stop this assault.
The void awaits you.
Again, very fortunate that the Rune Break is going to come after the buff on this werewolf is going to come after the Rune Break.
Don't leave any of them alive.
So spares him,
Of course,
I believe, 2 damage. Ooh, and that's a lot to deal with. That is not a guard. It's a nice Crown Quartermaster. Alternate art. But yeah, this looks bad. This definitely looks bad. Let's see, what can he do? Abner's not going to get it done. So he can negate. He can trade. Negate. It still leaves. Okay. He says, you know what? The trade is going to be more important than the guard. The 2-1 that I could get from it. And he can mummify.
Turn deserves another.
I mean, you wouldn't. He's going to trade with a 4/4, I think. But that would mean that mummify is going to do anything. And what is? He just puts a body down. So Aini is running out of cards. Running low on cards, but he doesn't need much to finish this game off. A lightning bolt will do it.
It has been my honor.
Oh man, another hulking mummy, and boy, where if we could have seen one of those cave troll things, he'd be in good shape because he can heal from those.
I keep a spare blade in my boot.
but unfortunately he doesn't. Or, you know, I don't know if he runs Skinned Hound to give a hulking mummy guard, but just doesn't have it. And Tiny has so many ways to finish it off. An unfortunate game for Io, just not drawing any of the good stuff. And in a rare treat, we get to see two of our friends going at it. We've got Carbon77 running a... I don't know why I started doing this accent. I'm going to run with it for the next few seconds. Carbon77 running a Dagoth deck up against Aya the Restless Storm, running, as we know he has, the very aggressively oriented Tribunal list. And if Carbon doesn't recognize it as so aggressive, he could be in for a hurt, and he's already... Let's see, they've got about the same amounts of cards. Carbon running a few less. He is ranked higher, though, by about 17. Carbon, or Io dropped for the 4 points that he gained. He lost those 4, and my accent has been lost as well, so I'm just going to stop it now. Oh, great doubleheader there. And Io is keeping up nicely. And Carbon is running one of my favorite card backs that I was wanting this for a long time. I really wish I'd gone to the effort and tried to get the premium in this account. I did get the premium in my other account. This one I just got the vanilla version.
You must be cleansed.
It's okay. I mean, it's not the end of the world.
I will spill your blood.
And yeah, it looks like Io, despite getting rushed down again. Oh, Dagoth Oakman, though. Oakman. And Carbon with Fingers, Lightning, and Oathman. It's certainly not over. He's going to keep making a push. You're going to make that trade with a 6-2. Yeah, because, again, you know, it's you can tell... I mean, and I hate to say this because if he hadn't have done it, I would have to change my narrative, but you can kind of tell when, you know, the kind of caliber player up against, when even if they're on the aggressive, they make those trades because they understand that it does not take much, and I've learned this the hard way, it does not take much for a deck, regardless of whether you think they're aggressive or not. It doesn't take much to for them to turn the tables on you, and suddenly they've got a board and you don't, and they're now the aggressor, and you're just completely screwed. So Carbon making the smart trade, saying and which is unlike I would say pure aggro or hard-nosed aggro like your orcs, where you really don't want to make a trade unless it's against a drain creature, or unless you have to. Oh, and the fingers, the battle of the fingers. I'm not going to make the lowbrow joke that would come with that, but as we know, Carbon is only 6 away from a victory, holding that lightning bolt in his hand. But we'd also know Io has Piercing and Mummify, both of which will get the job done. Also can get his Frost Giant out. And he has his Arcane Salami. Alright, the douche now means Carbon just needs 5 damage to close this out. And he's going to have to be quick. Io's going to need... I think he's going to deploy his Salami next turn. Yep, he's going to try to ping for that. He's going to try to close it out. But the Salami, I think, is going to seal the deal. Granted, he doesn't have... Like, he's only going to be able to heal for 5, but that's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal for them to heal. I'm going to be interested to see if he gives it to his... I don't know. He seems like he's thinking. Like the temptation might be to give it to the who is that guy? The this guy, the Shadowfen Priest, because it allows him to drain without giving Carbon a card. But he's also got a beefy enough board that he may say, you know what, I'm gonna attack at the same time as I drain, and he's gonna give it to the Mammoth. Yep. I mean, I think you could argue it, but I think it would be the wrong thing, because giving it to the Shadowfen would imply that it is... Oh, and that's going to be it. That's the death blow, I think. Carbon now has no board, and he's not going to push. He's not going to push any harder. He got his drain off. He now has a guard. The lightning bolt Carbon has is not going to get it done. A great game by both players, but we just saw it's a heck of a pivot. All right, this is another dual... I have Time Twist as well as D13. So 2 back-to-back organic ladder games with that I could dual spectate, but we're so close to the end. I didn't want to come out and lose anything because right now these turns are formidable. These turns are going to be a big deal. So D13 up against Time Twist. We would know what Time Twist has in his hand if I was paying attention. I need to pay attention to that icon a little bit more. I never look for it, and then I end up getting into a game and realize, oh crap, I could be dual spectating, and I have to get out and go back in. I just did it on the last game. Was about to do it on this one, but like I said, I think this is going to be an important sequence of events. D13 definitely seems to have the advantage. I'm not sure what Time Twist has in his hand. He has a Burn and Pillage. Does he have enough to take out the 7-5 completely? Even if he does, he has burned a lot of cards. Okay, he's saying, you know what? I'm keeping the pressure on. Wardcrafter is going to allow a harmless trade. Wasn't that big of a deal anyway, but I think we're going to see D13 continue to hit. He's got his Nahag Leave there. He's got a Worm King. Well, Worm King's not going to get the job done, but Nahag Leave certainly will. Can't be removed by actions. It's going to be very hard for Time Twist to deal with, I would imagine, unless he has... What's her name? Evanhart. Not Evanhart. Earthbone Spinner. Oh yeah, it really needs an Earthbone Spinner. I think that may be the death knell for Time Twist. As even if he did have the Earthbone Spinner, he still needs to make that trade because he's dead on board many times over. He would essentially need Willpower's removal. He would need a Dawn's Wrath or an Emulating Blast to survive. And of course he doesn't have either one. Red Gear doesn't even get it done. You know, he doesn't have the Magicka for it. I think Time Twist... He does have the Earthbone Spinner. He did have the answer. He's going to be able to push that extra 3 damage. And essentially, you know, tie it up. But yeah, D13's board is just... With the lane as it stands now, that shadow lane, or the field lane, there's really...
We must protect our strong.
Okay. Is that going to... No. Nope, it's going to be... well, we know D13 has the Shadow Fen.
The victory is yours.
And Time Twist doesn't know that, but does see the writing on the wall. Good game to both. And we have the pleasure of watching Sea City Talker. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's not even a German accent. I can't say it's an accent. I don't know why I want to do accents right now, but I think I'm getting bored with hearing myself talk. That's part of the problem. And many of you are probably nodding along going, yes, we are too. But you know what? That's what you're here for. I was thinking about doing something that I don't think any other channel has done, which is provide both games, because it really is not it's not hard at all for me to once I have everything edited to just take myself out. So you all can let me know in the comments if some of you are like, hey, I would love to watch these games without you yappering. I just want to watch the games themselves and you know, not have to worry about that. You can let me know if there's enough people that would be interested in that. I can do a dual release. It's going to double the render time, but I think I can still manage that. If not, there'll be certain videos where I can't do that. But if enough people want the games without commentary, I can certainly provide that. The hard part is, you know, including both. Whoa, what am I missing? What am I... Oh, okay, this is an event. Okay, so I was like, wait a minute, why does he get an award? All right, so we got Lucky. Creatures summoned here gain a random keyword, as we saw. Ruma didn't get this stuff, but he did get that. And I'm guessing that's the only stipulation, and that you can run pretty much any card. I'm not savvy enough, as much as I know about the game, I'm not savvy enough to be able to tell what the parameters of a tournament or a gauntlet or an event is just by looking at the cards that are being played. Like, oh, clearly we're not seeing any, it's a pauper gauntlet, or clearly whatever. Obviously we've got rares, we've got epics, we've got legendaries, so it doesn't seem to be a stipulation
You will
there.
reject your heresies.
Okay, yeah, but like, you know, is it limiting it to certain collections? I don't know. But Grey Viper Brigand is going to join
I'll see you
the
dead.
discard pile, and Ivy Reaps. I think it's Reaps. Oh no, Ivor. I can read. Ivry Reap Z23. I am butchering these names. But to be fair, we have some very incredibly creative people in TESL who just have a crazy combination of letters and numbers. A poor, humble streamer like myself, or recorder, watcher, spectator like myself cannot be expected to Sea City, did you always have that top 10? I don't think you did, man. I think when I first met you, you wanted the top 10, but you'd reached top 10, but you got there like in the middle of the season several times. And you're like, you know what? I burned myself out. So I think I can stand on truth here and say, Sea City, you got top 10 in the past 2 seasons, I imagine. That may actually be worth asking about. You know what? Let me actually ask. Where are you, Sea City? There you are.
Heretics.
And we're back to see
You fight like a child.
Ivory Reap equip his Grand Inquisitor with a heavy battle axe. Okay, Verse Arena last month. So wow, Sea City getting it in arguably the hardest format possible, which is in Arena. Oop, eats a javelin, keeps his headless zombie alive, whether he wants to or not. What is he tied to this card? Oh, doesn't tell us. That's why you gotta pay attention. Okay, so an edict. It looks like he will be. Oh wait, what is that? Yeah, he'll bring back an edict of Azura. I think that's what that means. He is in dangerous territory. Ivory, we haven't really seen a ton of chargers, so I don't know what kind of reach Ivory has with a naked board. Doesn't matter though, I guess, if he plays if he keeps playing creatures in the lucky lane, he can get lucky and get some chargers, which get charge. Kind of like the poop lane. But it's a little more fair because everybody has the poop lane. It is definitely, and I think it's only fitting. It is only fitting that we see Sea City here, as he has stated on various occasions, or at least recently anyway, that I can recall, that he doesn't mind some RNG. Does not mind RNG. I'm interested interesting he didn't play Broom or the... Okay, didn't. Of course, that's why he did it. Good call. Good call. He's trying to stabilize. Might get the amulet and the profiteer down, and Ivory.
Training is over. It's time to
Clearly, wow, that's not what he wanted. That is not what he wanted. So we're going to see that. We're going to see the execute and probably the profiteer.
There's always a play.
And that just gave Sea City further distance to go. He is holding off on the execute, which is a little bit of a risky proposition because you got gavels and you got a lot of weapons in those colors, in red particularly, in strength. I think it's very risky leaving any card on the board at this particular point in the game. But Sea City is a top 10 player. I am not even in the top 100. But what do I know? I mean, it doesn't mean that people who aren't in the top don't have a valid opinion. But and as we saw, I'm not calling anybody out, but we have seen some top players make some mistakes in the past. Being a top player means typically you make fewer, you build better decks, or you run better decks. See, there we go, we got a charger. They either build and or run better decks.
I will keep
They play without mistakes. Are we early in the season? I guess we kind of are, aren't we? I mean, we're about a third of the way through the season. A little over a third. But yeah, it is still pretty early. But yeah, I think it's interesting that we got Sea City with the lucky lane. He's not necessarily a fan of Mundus because of its perpetual value that it can generate, but he is, he did say he's kind of gotten used to it. He just kind of accepts it for what it is. And he did say, like, he likes elements of RNG. Obviously not abusive RNG per se, but yeah, he's got it. He's got it with that amulet. I mean, if he had another one, definitely, but he's got Rising of Bones, Dawn's Wrath. He's got a... Ooh. I don't think I've ever seen that card played in a non-3-color deck. I mean, it is meant to be played. That's an Oathman. It's meant to be played in Ebonheart. So kudos to Ivory for trying something a little different. I think he may be relatively new. I never want to call anybody out necessarily, but like running those heal cards again against another aggro deck, they're great, but they are dead cards when it comes to like a control deck, which clearly Sea City is running. Come on, Ivory. Come on, buddy. It's not that difficult. It's one option. Do you play it or do you put it in your hand? You're probably going to want to play it, especially if it's a Javelin. Let's not do it this way, buddy. There we go. There's a Javelin. See? Interesting. Interesting. Decides to leave Encano alone. Has 3 cards to play. We know 2 of them. I think it's a pretty prophecy-heavy list. Vigilant Giant, great card, and hasn't. See, that's another thing too. You do have to realize when your opponent has now gotten the upper hand, and we can very easily see here. We can't do Chanter Dawn's Wrath, unfortunately. Sea City does not have the Magicka for that, but we could see. We'll probably see a Dawn's Wrath. Oh, Marak, yeah, good old Marak, and that is probably going to be a GG from Ivory. If he has the grace to do it. Yeah, no, he's chock full of prophecies. Heck. Javelin. There goes the Giant. But yeah, Sea City now well out of harm's way at 36. Okay, Ivory running. Yeah, because you get those cards at the very beginning of your. That's not a bad one.
I will be triumphant.
Although it is certainly not immune to Dawn's Wrath. Problem. It is a great pull off of Call Dragon, I think, in general. But Dawn's Wrath does not care about no action. Which is interesting. I always found that interesting that Nahagleave couldn't be targeted by actions, but he can be destroyed by them. That is the verbiage, right? Yeah, can't target Nahagleave, but he can still be damaged by them. Same thing with the mage, the something mage, the mage hunter or whatever it is. The 3/2, the 2 cost 3/2 in strength. What are we waiting on here? What's going on? Nobody has any Magicka. Oh, I think it's Ivory's turn. Yeah. The Sea City wouldn't rope. And is Ivory dead on board? No. And in fact, he is not dead as it stands now with the cards as they are. But Ivory really doesn't have a way to win. You'd think you just want to concede and move on. Like, do you want the rewards or not? Like, it just amazes me with time being so fleeting, time being such a valuable commodity, how eager people are to burn their own time, waste their own time, particularly when it means they're going to be wasting the time of others. Yeah, boy, this is prophecy heavy list, and a good one there. But yeah, it's a futile gesture. Fingers, I'm guessing. Oh, okay.
The tribunal will always come to the people's aid.
And once again, the arcane salami being summoned forth. Giving Sea City much needed card draw. Well, not much needed. He doesn't need anything. He's got health, he's got cards, he's got a heck of a board. A beautiful, shiny, spectacular board. He's got a top 10 card back from Arena. This man has it all. And now he has Parthenax. And a Harpy. I just had it all. And see, I don't think normally Sea City... I mean, he's just having fun with it right now. There we go. Wow. Sea City, congratulations not only on the win, but on getting a roper to quit.
This episode is sponsored in small part by the legendary Remnant Discord. If you join the Discord, you can't go wrong, and the best way to tell you is to sing this song. Okay, I'm not going to torture you with that anymore. If you don't want to hear me sing ever again, you join the Remnant Discord. That was not going to go well. By golly, I wish I could sing. But anyway, the real sponsor of this video is Crusaders Rally, a card from, you guessed it, the brilliant mind of Vincenzo. It is a 3-cost Crusader, action, give 2 creatures +1/+1 and breakthrough. So this is probably going to be remind you very much of Crusader's Assault, which is also a 3 cost in Crusader colors, but it is give 1 creature 2/0 breakthrough and draw a card for slay and breakthrough. So ideally you're just going through a card, and in doing so you get the slay and you get, I think it's the pilfer essentially, through that. So this one, same cost, you're not getting that card draw, but you are getting breakthrough, and it's not a 2 attack. It's giving you +1/+1, which is interesting. So it seems to be designed to try to keep some cards alive, to keep certain ones that maybe have lower health alive, which I wouldn't say is antithetical to Crusader, but typically Crusader is an aggressive deck. And now you want it to be able to last a little longer. I think maybe this is more for somebody who wants a more mid-rangey build, because it does give 2 creatures that it spreads love around, which, again, with Crusader, a lot of times, you're going to see a lot of token builds in Crusader. You're going to see a wider board, and so there may be times, it's kind of like, what is that? Burn and Pillage? Not Burn and Pillage. Something, it's where the guy's kicking the door down. It's a 2 cost. All pilfer creatures have +1, I think, or +2 in breakthrough. So it has a little bit of that factor to it, but it's not really relying on any kind of pilfer mechanic at all. It is literally just a different, a card that is very similar, but is more tailored to a different style of deck. Missing out on the card draw is kind of a big deal, but Crusader's Assault is clearly the +2 breakthrough. It is meant to be an assault. It is meant to just do the damage. You're not really worried about that creature surviving. It's all about getting that card draw and getting rid of whatever happens to be in front of you. This is more fight for the board, I would argue. As well as, I mean, it's a nice cheap way to give your strength, your bigger strength creatures breakthrough for a turn for like a 12 cost or turn 12 rage. So you can play this with rage on turn 12 or 11 actually, and do cool things. Giving it to the other creatures isn't a big deal, but it is an interesting card. And I think here's the thing: this is not really far off the beaten path. This isn't like treading into completely unknown territory. It has a strong resemblance in many ways, even really the art. I think to the alternate art, kind of similar. It's got the guy, we're going after. I think the other one's holding a flag, but this one's holding a Schwaaard. And the light shining in. So I do like the art. I think it does look very. I don't know. It's weird. I would say the art definitely feels like Legends-esque, but I don't know. He almost looks more Nordish than, well, not Nordish because Nords are in Skyrim, but you know what I mean. He's got a little more. I don't know. I guess he is. I guess he's got the circular plate on the armor and everything. Anyway, just the armor and the way the helmet horns are, it doesn't quite look Skyrim. I mean, it looks Skyrim-esque, just not spot on. Anyway, we're not gonna get tangled up in that. But my point is, I like cards like this because just imagine, so you can. When you're building a deck right now, you're kind of building in broader strokes. Like you're like, okay, here's my overall goal. Here's what I want to do with the deck. And then here are, different cards that are going to thrive in that particular build, and different cards are going to have synergy with that build. When you get down to cards like Crusader's Rally, which is a variation, splitting up the stats, it's still +2 an attack ultimately, just like Crusader's Assault. It is still breakthrough, but it sacrifices the card draw for possible a higher chance of survivability and a little more spread. It's giving those stats, to more than one creature versus just one. So it's a slight deviation from a card we already have, but it does open up. It allows you to paint your deck with a little more detail. You can go, okay, this is what I'm trying to do with this deck. Usually I'd play Crusader's Assault, but in this case, I don't think this would replace Crusader's Assault because it can't. It's not doing the same thing. It's not a draw. It's not a punch through. It is a different way of attacking, a different way of building your board, a different way of building your assault, as it were. So this wouldn't replace it in terms of functionality. Like, it's not that Crusader's Assault would go away. It's maybe you run one Crusader Assault and 2 of these, or vice versa, depending on what you're trying to do. So I'm a big fan of these cards because even though they're not just shaking everything up, they are filling in the gaps. They're, if you sat there at one point and you're like, oh man, I really wish it cost 1 less and didn't have this. I don't think I'm thinking of the Battle Mace, Sentinel Battle Mace. I don't think you could give you +4 attack or any less. It's a 4 cost, +4, +1? I think it's just +4 attack, with a ward. I don't know. I think it might be broken if it was a +3 that gave you 4 attack. I think that might be overstated. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But in other words, something like that, we say, you know what? I would love to have a card that's a 3 cost, 4 attack that doesn't have the ward on it. I think giving people that option, as long as it's balanced, as long as it doesn't throw stuff off, I think giving people that option is great. And I do think, to Vincenzo's credit, I think he's created a card that is statted where it needs to be, because I do think it has parallels to other cards of a similar nature. I I don't, because, oh, here's another thing. It doesn't say, and I just thought of this doesn't say for a turn. It is a permanent upgrade. As far as I can tell, it is giving those two creatures breakthrough and 1 stat to attack and health permanently. That's a bit of a game changer, because once you play Crusader's Assault, the next turn, it goes back down to being a dinky, whatever it was. It loses those 2 attack points if it survives, and it loses that breakthrough. This seems to be more lasting. Which I still think it's okay at 3. I think this may need to be an epic, maybe, like Crusader's Assault. But I still think it's okay because it is missing what usually amounts to a 2-card draw when you play it. So I think it's still fine, but it is a permanent boost to those stats. Permanently changes the card unless it gets silenced, of course. But yeah, I think it's great, and cards like this, that, like I said, they're not huge shifts, they're not big changes, they're just gradient and give you different options based on what you're building. And you may run one of these instead of all 3 assaults, just to have that variety, because there may be a time where you want to use something like this versus the assault. Who knows? But anyway, great call, Vincenzo. Great card. Great cost. And yeah, thanks again for giving us something to mull over, to pine for, to long for. Y'all can let me know if you think it's balanced, if you think it's fair, if you think it's something that you would use, or that you've had times where you're like, I wish Crusader's Assault functioned in this way. This card kind of fits that bill. But anyway, thanks so much for taking a gander, and now let's get you back to the games.
D13 now top 5 up against Hunter 1302, top 25. Also has been a top 10 player. And we are seeing it going. You know, and D13 mentioned, you know, he said he had been number 1. He briefly held the number 1 title, or was number 1, ranked number 1, like actual number 1, earlier for a little while. He said, you know, it's a dead game and it's early in the season, but it still felt good. And just want to say, you know what, the game may be dead, technically speaking.
Watch yourself now.
You know, as far as development, but it still has thousands of players. And by that, I mean at least 2, maybe 3. Could be a high as 7. I don't think so. I think we're probably, the remnant is at about 3,000 tops. Is the feeling I get. Probably not even that high. Might be about 2,000. But that's still 2,000, and you better believe, you know, we got some fresh folks, fresh faces coming in.
I smell the stench of
all the time. It's not a huge influx, but there are people that are like, hey, I just found this game recently. Looks really cool, asking questions about it. So there is new blood coming, but pretty much anybody who's still here, they're either incredibly tenacious or they're very good at the game. They've been playing for a while. They know what they're doing. They're good at it. And yeah, so, you know, even if you only had 1,000, and let's just say the remnant is 1,000, being number 1 is still 999 other people that you have proven yourself against and have bested. And they're you know, it's not a, you know, a bunch of noobs. It's not a bunch of people who've never played the game before. It's 999 other people that have been top 10 players or are top 10 players. So I think it's still a feat to be proud of. It's still an accomplishment. And there are many really strong players out there. I'm not going to mention any names, but you'll know who you are when I'm talking about you. There are many players who are really good.
Well.
And we got a little...
You'll never take me down.
Oh, wait, does he have... Oh, yeah, he does. I didn't even see. I was like, I didn't know if D13 was just being polite or no, he just knows Hunter has thousands and thousands. Really, Hunter? Really? Come on, man. He had it with 12 or 13. Oof. Eye of the Restless Storm against Carbon 77, a rematch, I believe. I know Carbon 77 played somebody. I think it may have been D13, though. But at least when it comes to ladder, it looks like it's a very tight group right now. We're seeing a lot of rematches, a lot of the kind of the same. I think this is the 3rd time I've been able to dual spectate. You know, the ladder is not. It's a very small group of folks playing the ladder, which makes sense. We have the gauntlet going on, although I haven't really seen too many people playing that other than Sea City. But this is a Dagoth mirror match, and Carbon 77 has a significant lead on Eye of the Restless Storm. I'm bummed out, doggone it, IO, that you're not running that tribunal, aggro tribunal. I just think it's a cool concept. a lot of fun. Ooh, another hand. He's got the Tiny D coming up big. Don't throw.
Before the 6th house.
And I'm just stating the obvious, but a Dagoth Oathman nice and big. If Io can stabilize, he's got a pretty good chance, but Withered Hand isn't really going to be harmful. It's just going to be a 3-4 body. Carbon does have 6. What is he going to pull? Has Io played a Lightning Bolt? Channeled Storm might be the call here because he can play it on this turn, and he can hit. Yep, he's going to hit with this guy. He's going to punch the ward, I think, and then use Channeled Storm on it to get Drain off the board, putting Io in a precarious situation. He does have another hand, though. And right now, we know Io really needs to get this hand of Dagoth down because he has... Oh, wait, I'm sure he knows that he's got a Steel Sword as well. So right now, he's still alive, barely, by 2 points. And gonna have no answer for the hand, and that could very well be the deciding factor. Mighty Conjuring as well. Fantastic card for Io. Carbon really... Oh, man. He's going to be able to play Vigilant with Sendar. Is he going to play Withered Hand, though? He is. And that is actually going to... Well, I mean, he can still play Mighty Conjuring. But before he could have played Mighty Conjuring and Bewildering Speed. Now he can only play one or the other. We might see Bewildering Speed and Alfeet Conjurer. Be interesting to see what he does here. I definitely think he wants his hand to trade with the Gray Fox. I think that's ultimately what he's going to want to do. And if he can buff him up just a little bit with that Bewildering Speed, that doesn't... Yeah, it's just +1/+1. The other one is the one that actually you get plus whatever, how many cards are in another lane, which would have been really bad for Carbon. Right now he's not out of it. He's still being able to push. And I don't know, actually. If he drains for 6, that puts him at 11. Carbon's at exactly 11, actually, with... Yeah, so even if he pulls this on... Well, no, okay. Alfeet Conjurer is going to make the difference. And it's a stay of execution for the moment. Because Carbon did have exact lethal even with this drain right here. Without that guard. He had exactly 11. Has a hand, which is good. It's got breakthrough, but Io is going to be able to play Mighty Conjuring opposite. Wherever Carbon plays the hand. Obviously, in Dagoth colors, he can have lane changes, lane shifts that could get around it. But he is going to have... Okay, yep. Again, makes that trade. Which is essentially like draining. When you have to trade with drain, it is a trade.
Keep your distance.
Okay. And yeah, it looks like Io, it's going to be a long trip. He's got 4 rune breaks to go, but he does have a pretty hefty board, and Carbon is on the back foot at this point. He's really going to want... I mean, he could... Has he used any lightning bolts?
Khajiit will keep you safe.
He has used 1 lightning bolt, so he would need to do at least 3 damage to have a chance to win off of Lightning Bolt Prophecy. Ooh, Odavang. Not going to be enough. I mean, in a manner of speaking, it wasn't enough to do a complete board wipe without some assistance. And is I going to continue to push? I think he needs to while Carbon has no board. Oh no. Well, I guess when you have 25, 26 damage on the board, you don't need that. Carbon finds his 3rd hand. But Io, I think, is going to take it here. Surprised it didn't finish with Odaving to avoid the prophecy, but I don't think he needed to worry about it. It is a lightning bolt. And he just takes it to the face. Carbon 77 goes down. Io, good game. Well played by both. And if it was not clear, my suspicions are validated. Once again, we have Hunter 1302 in the mix. We do have a very tight group of people vying for the top spot on this particular weekend. Carbon 77 hoping to rebound from a close game against Io. And Io saying, yeah, that game got really intense. And it did, in fact. It was one of those games where you never can really unclench. You're never coasting. You know, with a few more damage, you know, I mean, it really comes down to some very subtle plays. Sometimes it's very obvious. You know, turn 4, a certain exchange happens, and you suddenly have all this board control, like right here. I mean, that's not it, because Carbon 77 had ways to make that a favorable trade without that. But right now, he has got to worry. As we saw, Hunter was able to close out a game with a handful of steel swords and daggers. So Carbon needs to be very concerned about that 2-3 continuing to stay alive.
Power flows from the
But I think he's just looking to race. Now, he does have board advantage, does have health advantage, but man, all it's going to take is Hunter. I mean, that's 2 charges on that. And at least he's going to get at least 3 unless Carbon gets a Prophecy Lightning Bolt. And there you go. I mean, that's all it takes. But I think for Carbon, once he gets 1 trigger, interesting. So Hunter not necessarily looking to race. I think Carbon needs to contest at 6-6. He's got a hope. I mean, gosh, is that 4 charges now on? Like, that is insane. The weaponry coming down. If Hunter has anything on the board, he is going to be able to swing for a ton. I don't know why my legs are falling asleep. I think somehow I'm just sitting on something wrong. I'm at the age now where that's a thing. You can actually sit wrong and be perpetually uncomfortable because you just happen to be sitting just slightly off kilter, and now your butt and your leg hurts. More than likely a steel sword and a ward crafter, some combination of attack. But it really is hard because at this point you go, look, I'm screwed. Like, he has had so many charges, it's almost not worth killing him at this point. You just want to go face. But fortunately, Carbon has a pretty big board. But man, this 5-5 is probably going to become a 15-15 next turn. Especially if Carbon breaks the next one. He does. Hunter, I don't think he'll have enough to OTK him, but Hunter probably is going to be able to do 15 to 20 points of damage if he has just 2 or 3, even small little weapons, little dinky daggers and scimitars and whatever. He's going to be able to do a lot. But Carbon has played it very well, unless he's got, unless those cards are 2 maces that can shackle down Carbon's 2 top cards. Okay, no. Now that's a great combo. That with the swordsmith. It's not the swordsmith. He grabs the harpy because he is fighting for his life at this point. Carbon has enough of a board that he can do that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, like I said, the 5/5 1-cost scimitar. That channel storm is going to be huge. He's going to be able to kill that harpy that Hunter just equipped. That on it is right. That gets him to 6. Yep, just enough damage. And he can throw down Garnag as well, and it's going to keep Hunter at 7 magicka to work with next turn.
We must protect the Night Mother.
Ross's vote for MVP of the entirety of TESL is Garnag.
Dendog, give us strength.
Okay, and he's gonna roll. Nope. Not the worst, not the greatest. That's actually kind of a big deal. That's a big deal. Well, no, let's see, 9. Nope, that's not gonna do it. He has, especially with Seidanin. Carbon 77 able to rally back from that game with
Gifts.
nicely done. We rejoin C City Toker, who is playing in the Gauntlet, still is in the event with his trusty tribunal, and has actually changed out his card back. C City, what are you doing, man? Come on. Show that top 10 with pride. That took you a while to get.
Believers shall
It's a badge of honor. And it's a really good looking card. I mean, it would be one thing if the top 10 card back was kind of like, it's ugly, but it sparkles and it means I'm awesome. But it's actually an enviable card. The Headless Zombie looking to bring back the Execute. Obviously, a great card up against Grastos, champion of the arenas. Seems to be an invade deck. Kind of nice. We went, we've got, oh, there's that ugly card. Ah! You don't know it, but in that native language, that was some very, very fiery words for that little shriveled Yoda. Like it says something. I mean, that is really that's demonic Yoda. Back in the day, for those of you who don't know, at one point, Invade was so broken that you could unsummon your gate and it would retain its stats. You could so you could deploy 2 gates on one turn. You could get your gate up to 5, be like, I think my opponent might remove it this turn. I'm going to pull it off the board. It's still a level 5, and I'm going to play another gate, or I'll trigger another gate, and then I'll play them both on the next turn for a combined total of 20,000. And yeah, if I think my opponent's going to remove it, I'll just pull it back again. But kudos to Grastos for at least running Dark Rifts. What is it called? Dark Rift? Yeah, hey, guessed it right. I've only ever seen the AI really run that. I've run it once, but never in a competitive deck. It just takes so long to go off, and there's so much support removal out there. Brave Carriot. So much support removal out there that it really is hard to keep it alive. I'm sure Sea City has
Believers shall flock to our noble cause.
Shadowfen, just hasn't drawn it. And doing some shenanigans with his factotums. Steelwork Spider. I think he's got Grasdos's number in this. He's holding on to that Execute, really waiting for a prime opportunity to use it. Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, I really did something to my leg. This is embarrassing. I'm literally sitting on my butt, and I'm somehow accumulating pain. And Sea City.
Nicely done.
Yeah, getting a charge on the old Tiny Dwemer. But Sea City is not biting. He's not being baited. He is not going to feed the beast. Not even feed the trolls. He's not going to feed Oblivion. That's a new word for it. He's not feeding Oblivion. Which is a very wise move for where he's at. First of all, he is a control deck. You can see by the cards he's got, he is a control deck, so he has no problems just kind of being chill. I'm excited to see what he does with his Lyneths. For me, it's just basic card draw. For Sea City, though, I expect to see some shenanigans, because he's going to be able to pull exactly what he needs or what he wants. Looking forward to seeing what that is. Because if I know Sea City, and I think I do, he's always got something up his sleeve. He's always doing something janky with the deck. He just needs the opportunity to pull it off.
We will seize our
and
own
he's getting
fate.
it right now. That's a tempting Execute target, but it's a more tempting Ancano target. I don't think he has to worry about the gate going off. Yes, not with Grastos having no cards. That's why you don't. Was he going to Fingers? I think he's going to Fingers. Gets rid of the Piercing Twilight. Okay. Fingers gets a discount. Oh my goodness! See, and the shenanigans begin.
Nicely done.
And the tokens are a great thing for this particular run with the Lucky, where every card that goes there. And there's that Shadowfen. And yep, Grastos might concede after that. That was... I'm sure he wasn't banking on that in particular, not up against this board, but kind of cut the legs out from under him for really being able to populate. I mean, he had 3 more turns left on it. This is ridiculous. I'm going to have to... Oh, jeez.
Speak, citizen.
Oh, gosh. How do you sit wrong? Answer me that. How do you sit wrong? Both cheeks are on the seat. That's about as simple as I can make it. That's about as much as I can do. But yeah, as you see, this is how you beat out.
Care to go again?
Particularly if you're a control deck. It's a little bit harder when you're an aggro deck because you can't do shenanigans like this. You don't really have a bunch of outs. You're trying to push that damage, and as soon as you do, especially if you're starved of cards, you have. Oh, is he going to do the old Fluffy Fries 99? He is. He's doing the combo. I'm surprised he didn't sacrifice the sweet roll for that. But yeah, turning the Grave Viper Brigands into a ton of card draw moving forward. I mean, Rastos is hanging in there. I would have given it up. Although, admittedly, I may be a little too fast to concede sometimes. But I would say, I mean, he's probably thinking I've got 5 rune breaks, 5 cards to get. But if you don't have a gate already, that you know to profit off of that, I don't think Sea City's in any rush. Close it off. The first Lyneth coming down. What does Sea City? Well, we know he's got Journey, so he's probably, if he can do, does he have conscription?
Nicely done.
He does not have a conscription, so let's see. That is his discard. He's got. I would like to see a Journey. It might be a little premature. And I don't know what that does to the Grey Viper Brigands, because it takes him out of the discard pile. So that would be antithetical to what he was trying to do with his card draw on those Grey Vipers. One amulet.
Do my bidding.
Nice little chanter value with his petite little lighter flame, his little Bic flame. Behold, I can make candlelight. Sea City is done messing around. Grastos is going to be able to throw down some cards, but probably, unless he's got 2 invasion parties, which I think he's already played 1, if not 2. He's already played 2. He's only got 1. If he had Forces of Destruction, that would be a big deal, or a formidable deal. But I don't think he's going to really be able to do too much. Sea City, does he have enough? 10, 13, 14, 15, 19. Okay, he had 19. No longer has 19. 10, 12, 13, 16. Does have had exactly. I mean, okay, he's got Encounter. I forgot about that. So he's got the reach. Interesting. Sea City not known to be the spiteful type, but perhaps against Invade he's making an exception.
I sense great power in you.
Is he? Brilliant experiment. He's gonna. Okay, we saw this as well.
Come, do
in the last game.
bidding.
But I think Grastos is in it. I wouldn't say in it to win it, but he's in it for the long haul. I don't think he's going to get a concession out of him. But he could certainly have ended it that last turn if he was so inclined.
The sigil stone is mine.
Oh, usually you see that guy in the first 5 cards, and he's such a pain in the butt. It really screws you if you're trying to hard body the gate down. If you've got hard removal, you're fine. But if you're just trying to poke at it, it makes it very difficult. This should do it. We might see him play Marak just for lulls, as it were. But no. He's closing it out now. Poke. 6 and 6 with
That was
Lyneth.
fought well.
Congratulating his opponent and closing it out for the win. Nicely done, Sea City. And we join That Prof Mattered, the alter ego of a streamer you know and love. But I will not reveal his identity here. If you know it, great. If you don't, you'll have to try to sort it out. Who was that masked man? Who was that Prof Mattered? We may never know. May be a mystery forever. But it obviously is running in the NPO clan, hero of the people, top 10 player. So kind of eliminating it down a bit. This is, as you said, a classical Battle Mage deck that he built a long time ago. When you see Rapid Shot in Battle Mage, you know that there's going to be some Breton conjuring going on here. And he's up against Cygnus Terminal. His goal is to get to Legendary with this deck. And you can see he is rank 9. This is an alt account. Rank 9, he wants to get to Legendary with it, and he may very well. I've tried to do it. I actually did a version. I used a version of this deck to get to Legendary one of the last seasons. Called it my November push. So I guess it was back in November that it happened, and it worked, but it hasn't worked since, at least for me. But I don't run it nearly as well as that Prof Mattered does. But yeah, classic Battle Mage. Setting up for a Cradle Crush.
Forget about C.
So we got a Rapid Shot, Trade the Harpy, Cunning Ally? Oh, see, I thought he was going to Rapid Shot Gray Fox. So we could trade.
They best not anger.
Okay, but he uses his Baron instead. Another way to get... Oh, and chooses to hit face. Anyway, so taking on the aggression for the card draw, as it were. Kind of remembering these kind of plays. You know, if nothing else, you kind of try to mimic them when it makes sense. I'm happy to report, just so you know, that I stood up, walked around a little bit, and have sat down, and I seem to no longer be sitting on every nerve in my lower back. Huzzah! It's a thing, folks. You cross that 40 threshold, life changes. As it should. You know, it would be it's a, you know, the whole life cycle is kind of a cruel thing anyway, in some regards, but it gets a lot crueler. Imagine if you actually just got healthier the older you got. Like your body just got more robust, stronger.
Find something useful.
Like, death would be much more bitter, but I think as it is now, like with our bodies essentially in a perpetual state of decay, you get to a certain age and you're like, I'm ready to be done. This vessel is no longer helping me out. Alright, so we got a whoops from that Prophecy Mattered. And, oh, jeez. So that was it. He was, he forgot about the king, the guy essentially made his cards too expensive to play. He forgot that was a thing. So his plan was thwarted, and now he is staring down the barrel of a Night Talon Lord, more than likely with either a squish or a lane change. And we may see if he is able to steal the Alfiq, and he does, this may be a concession from that Prof Mattered, because that's going to be a lot to overcome. That's a heck of a card to have stolen. Is there going to be a way for him to clear out that lane? And he can Mighty Conjuring? But that Night Talon Lord right now would be able to steal. Well, yeah, he'd be able to steal the Law of Atronach, so...
paws are quicker than your eyes.
If the Astro stays, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you doing? So it stays. He can't Cunning Ally and Cradle Crush. Oh, he can... I think he's thinking Mighty Conjuring, but that just seems like a bad idea with that Night Talon Lord on deck. Because he can easily... Cygnus can simply trade his Fire Atronach in, and then Night Talon the crap out of the Lava Atronach. Unless... Does the Lava come down as a 9/9? No. Wait. 8/8. No, yeah, it would be a bad idea. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely... Cygnus has the ideal... is in the ideal situation right now. He's managed to survive late game, and now the greed can kick in and carry him forward. So it's going to be interesting to see if that Prof Mattered can still pull this off. It will be a heck of a win. It will be an epic level win, I think, with the situation that we're in now against... I mean, Ebonheart, there are non-greedy versions of it, but this is one of those greedy ones I would expect to see Iron Atronachs and all kinds of craziness. Yeah. This is where, you know, this is where the rubber meets the road. In terms of, you know, your legendary players. You know, for me, this was this would be a concession.
First.
As soon as those Guardians came down, I think I would have conceded. I don't. My faith in my own skill is not high enough that I think I could overcome that. Particularly, I mean, there's no way to trigger more of them. This isn't Telvanni, but he's staring down a 5, 7, 8 in that shadow lane. And he's got too many cards, too many ways to just... And he's going to do 15 damage here. Spear Totem, not bad, but maybe Cradle Crush? He's not going to want to boot... Well, he might boot the 7-5. No, he's going to hold on to it. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know if he's doing... And is he going to lose it? He's going to lose it. I think it is GG. You can take out Demonic Homer Simpson. Still facing down 15. It's a rough match, to be sure. Ooh. Actually, Abner. Couldn't Abner? Can Abner trigger the Aelid Guardian?
I will not be on the
think he
wrong
can.
side of it.
And he does. It only spits out one, but good heads up play there. I would have played it in the shadow lane, and it would have spawned it, I'm guessing, in the field lane. I think it's in the opposite lane that Abner's in. So good heads up play.
I raise the spine
And he's
of
got the
battle.
removal. Yep. Just enough to get... No, not enough. Oh, right, because lethal... Oh! I don't know if Cygnus knew that. That surprised me. I forgot.
I do not.
I forgot that lethal does not clear. Wow. So with that mistake, that Prof Matter has a chance. Cygnus has lost his entire that crazy good lane, that crazy shadow lane. If he had played Rage on the Atronach, I think he would have had it. But he forgot. So I think Barontier is going to be the next one coming down. Going to give everything guard. He's going to be able to make a favorable trade with the Fighters Guild recruit. And yeah, well done that, Prof Matter. See, this is why you persevere. This is why people like me don't climb as high as people like that Prof Matter. Now, that's not the only reason. There are plenty of people who don't do what I do, who don't concede, who do stick it out, and still don't climb. So that's not the only reason. But as you can see, win or lose, that Prof Mattered is in the mix for a win. Although Cygnus just seems to have draw power for days. I think that Prof Mattered does have... Ooh. A desperate play. And that does annoy me, just on a fundamental level. It's not saying, you know, right, wrong, or whatever. And to be fair, Greedy Ebonheart is a control deck at its core. But it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I would run it too, I think. I really hate seeing it in an aggro deck because it's like, okay, if my whole deck, if the whole plan and strategy of my deck falls apart, I've got this to kind of bail me out. But it is a complete board wipe. And is he going to tome up? He is. Wow.
Careful there, friend.
And he's doing that just in case of a prophecy, I think. And I don't think Cygnus has a single card that can play to win this or to turn it around. Even with 20 Magicka, that's a lot to work with, but almost every creature on the board is lethal. He's got one warded. He only has one creature that isn't lethal. Alright, so he plays a very small fraction of his. Yeah. He can just rage from hand. Oh no! Yep. Oh. Okay, so apparently Ebonheart is the deck of choice right now. We're joining that Prof Matter for what I'm guessing is going to be the final game of this particular video. Still running his deck. Like I said, he wants to run this one too legendary. Another greedy Ebonheart, no doubt. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. It's very bizarre that you see two of these in a row. But hey, at least it ain't invade, right? Take the small things. We'll see if Zay Prime is able to get exactly what he needs on curve as the former player did.
My sword hand itches.
Okay, that Prof mattered, suggesting that he may want to change over to an item battle mage. Better for a climb. Which I could see, possibly. Either way, hoping to see a redemptive win here against essentially kind of a rematch. I mean, obviously it's a different player, but same kind of deck. And we'll see, it may not be, I mean, Brave Caryad runs like 3 different versions of Ebonheart, and they're not greedy. None of them. They're guards. There's mid-range. I think there's a little more aggressive, more animal-like build, if I recall. None of them are of the greedy persuasion, looking to ramp and remove with lethal stuff. But it would seem that Zay Prime is... And unless he's got a curse or a Shadowfen, the naked Breton will not be punished. Is that not a premium? Oh, right, this is the alternate account. I'm like, how does that Prof Matter not have that in premium? But it is, of course, because...
Roots of the Hiss.
So he's going to be able to make that trade and then reward and Sentinel Battle Mace. Well, it's the same thing. Re-Sentinel Battle... Oh, yeah, this has got to be the last game because my brain is going to mush.
Greetings.
Yeah, man, and this is the second roping game he's come up against. I mean, okay, Zay Prime didn't completely rope, but your turn's over. There's no reason to not click that button. And if you, honestly, it happens to the best of us. If you forget, because you're just not, you kind of space out a little bit. Okay, and notice there, my thought was, hey, throw that Sentinel Battle Mace on the Breton Conjurer, but you can see that Prof Matter choosing instead to fill up the board and is holding on to that Battle Mace for the chance to attack, which is the smarter play, objectively. I get greedy. I'm like, oh, I wanna. What are the odds that doesn't trade? We're in business. Yeah, because he's gonna Battle Mace.
I raise the spine of
yeah, that's gonna be great. He's gonna Battle Mace on the Venom. Oh wow, played right into his hands. There, 5-3 goes through. Sentinel Battle Mace, boom, goodbye. So yeah, Zay Prime might be newer to the game, but is definitely not where he wants to be at this particular moment. Our battle-hardened, battled mage companion of a CC.
I smell the stench
What's a
of
CC?
the living.
What is a CC? I don't know what a CC is. One heck of a CC if he has it. Cradle Crush? Oh yeah. Nope, that's it. I don't know that. I mean, I'm guessing Ebonheart because it is more control-ish. I imagine Cradle Crush is. I don't think they typically rely solely on lethal pings for removal and some mummify. I don't remember seeing too many Cradle Crush giants in Ebonheart, greedy Ebonheart. So no way to ward him. Could Fear Totem, but wants to mess with that either. What does he got here? What are his options? Well, he can now, his Alfie Conjure now will spit out that nice 7/5 with a ward, which is pretty much the bane of a
Khajiit will keep you safe.
lethal ping deck such as Greedy Evanhart. Zay Prime will have 12 Magicka to work with next turn with that ring charge. We could have a Guardian, and that would make a difference. Definitely make a difference. He does have the... Oh, no, wait, wouldn't. He's got the Fear Totem. So, yeah, this is pretty much a nice win for that Prof Mattered, and he is well on his way now. This is so great. I mean, you got guys like this that are like, even as he's playing a deck that is doing very well, he's like, oh, I know what deck I'm going to make next. Like, the inspiration. And Odaving just not going to be enough. Barring a prophecy, which would be ironic.
Victory is yours.
Nicely done. And with that nice win, we are going to call it for this session. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to those who put your prowess on display. It was great. Got to meet some new folks and got to see some new faces in a manner of speaking. And I'm looking forward to the next time. So until then, keep shredding and keep playing.